Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much for holding this very important hearing today, shining the spotlight on the significant impacts caused by nutrient pollution in the United States. High nitrogen and phosphorus loading, otherwise known as nutrient pollution, is a widespread problem with severe economic and public health repercussions. Virtually every state and territory in the United States is impacted by nutrient-related degradation of their waterways. These impacts include harmful algal blooms, reduced spawning grounds, and nursery habitats for many of our important fisheries, frequent fish kills, dead or hypoxic zones that are starved of oxygen and devoid of marine life, and public health concerns related to nutrient-contaminated drinking water sources and increased exposure to toxic microbes. In fact, in many areas of the country, states are forced to issue warnings to prevent any contact with nutrient-polluted waters. In the St. Johns River in Florida, for example, nutrient pollution results in swaths of green slime that fill back channels and blanket miles of shoreline, devastating aquatic life. Fishermen on the river report that the seafood they can catch is often shunned by customers concerned about safety. At the same time, homeowners and recreational boaters have no interest in swimming or boating in this green slime, nor should they. Or, as our witness from the Ohio EPA can no doubt talk about today, the largest inland lake in the state, Grand Lake St. Mary's, is a popular state park for fishers and boaters. Nutrient pollution has become so severe there that last July, his agency issued a warning against all contact with the lake by people, pets, and even boats. In addition, the agency recommended that no fish from the lake be consumed. These warnings were reissued in May of this year. Even more well-known is the Gulf of Mexico dead zone, which affects a stretch of ocean from the mouth of the Mississippi to Texas and is also caused by excessive nutrients. Earlier this month, the United States Geological Survey estimated that the dead zone in the Gulf from nutrient pollution would measure between 8,500 and 9,400 square miles, the largest to date. To someone from New York such as me, these are all too familiar stories. The most serious water quality problem in the Long Island Sound is hypoxia, resulting from excessive nitrogen runoff. In 2007, hypoxia in the Sound lasted for 58 days and at its peak affected 162 square miles. While size of the hypoxic zones fluctuate from year to year, its duration appears to be getting longer, not shorter, with significant impacts to fisheries, fishermen, and our water quality. The problems of nutrient pollution are not unique to these regions. As I mentioned, all but 2 states have waters that are impacted by nutrient degradation, and more than 15,000 such waters have been identified nationwide. In short, Mr. Chairman, the scope and severity of nutrient pollution cannot be overemphasized. For all of these reasons, in May of 2007, Benjamin Grubmuls, then the EPA Assistant Administrator for Water in the Bush administration, issued a memo regarding nutrient pollution and numeric water quality standards. While recognizing that many states and territories had made significant progress in establishing numeric nutrient standards, he also called upon the states and territories to take bold steps to, quote, accelerate their efforts and give priority to adopting numeric nutrient standards, close quote. Since then, the EPA has collaborated with the states on a nutrient task force to evaluate the science, sources, and economic impacts of nutrient pollution and develop recommendations for controlling the impacts on our economy and on our water sources. In March of this year, EPA issued a memo regarding additional efforts planned to work in partnership with the states. Let me say that again, in partnership with the states to address these problems. In addition, Administrator Jackson stated quite definitively that contrary to the claims that have been made by some, that the EPA is not working, again I'll repeat, not working on federal numeric nutrient limits that it plans to impose as a mandate on the states. I support these collaborative efforts and appreciate the Administrator's comments. I believe it is critical that the EPA and the states continue to move forward together in their efforts to address the growing public health risks and economic impacts of nutrient pollution. In my view, this is not about either the EPA or the states being good actors or bad actors, but about finding the right balance between the science, the implementation of effective and reliable nutrient controls, and ensuring the highest level of protecting human health and the environment. That is the charge this Congress gave the agency and the states almost 40 years ago, and one that the American public continues to support today. I also believe we in the Congress have a role to play. For that reason, I and many of my colleagues from the region recently reintroduced H.R. 2110, the Long Island Sound Improvement Act amendments of 2011. That bill is intended to improve the water quality of Long Island Sound with a particular focus on reducing nutrient pollution using a wide range of innovative tools and approaches. So again, Mr. Chairman, thank you for highlighting the very serious and growing problems of nutrient pollution in U.S. waters. I look forward to hearing from our witnesses on their plans to address this problem and how we can all collaboratively support these efforts. Before I yield back, I would ask unanimous consent to enter into the record statements of additional testimony from the following organizations: the Surfrider Foundation, the 9-member organizations that joined with the Mississippi River Cooperative, the Sierra Club, Earth Justice, East Coast Shellfish Growers Association, the Pacific Coast Shellfish Growers Association, the Puget Sound Restoration Fund, the testimony of Mr. Ben Williams, Fisherman's Dock Seafood Market in Florida, the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, the Des Moines Waterworks, and the 68-member organizations that joined with the America's Great Waters Coalition.
So ordered.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.